What's up, everybody? Welcome to a quick little video audio thing we're going to be talking about some of the new Kaldheim released cards. There have been a couple of cards spoiled, I guess we'll call it spoiled today, from Kaldheim, and I just wanted to go over them from a limited perspective and what, if anything, or how I think they will do in Kaldheim Draft. So the first card that we had was called Shadow of the Scalds. Showdown, excuse me. Showdown of the Scalds or Scalds, maybe. For 2, a red and a white, and it's an enchantment saga. So we do know that sagas are back. The first step says exile the top 4 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. And then steps 2 and 3 are the same thing. And they both say, whenever you cast a spell this turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So right off the bat, this is a 4-mana enchantment that draws you 4 cards, and then it also has upside. So I think if the red-white archetype in Limited cares about 1/1 counters, this is going to be very strong. I think 4 mana for 4 cards on step 1 is really, really strong. Regardless of the color types, for red and white, it's extremely strong. I think this could be a great curve topper, something where you're going to want to run a low to the ground aggro deck. You're going to want to exile a bunch of cards, play those cards, put 1/1 counters on those things, and then swing for a whole bunch of damage. Hopefully you have a bunch of like 1, 2, and 3 drop creatures. Like I said, this is kind of your curve topper. And then you just make your board huge with the steps 2 and 3, putting counters on everything. I think that's a really strong card. I think that could do a heck of a lot. But again, it's going to kind of come down to what the red-white archetype wants to do. If it doesn't care about 1/1 counters, then I think this would be a medium to high playable card. But if the counters are a big payoff, then I think that's going to be a very strong first pickable card. And the second card that we had spoiled today is called Pyre of Heroes. It is a 2-mana colorless artifact, and for 2 and a tap, for 2 tap and sacrifice a creature, you can search your library for a creature card that shares a creature type with the sacrificed creature and has converted mana cost equal to 1 plus that creature's converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Activate this only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So it's similar to a birthing pod type effect, neoform type effect. You're going to be paying 2, sacking a creature, and then getting something from your deck that both shares a creature type and has a CMC of 1 higher than that creature directly onto the battlefield, which is nice. In Limited, I think it's going to depend a lot on how tribal the tribal decks are. And even then, I don't think this is going to be an incredibly strong card. I think this is going to be very strong in constructed formats like Commander, things like that. I think this could do a heck of a lot in, and it might see some play in Standard if the tribal decks are strong. We know there's going to be Elves, we know there's going to be Vikings. Rogues are already in Standard, even though that's not quite the type deck that would use this effect. We do have a tribal deck in Standard, and I would expect that to increase. I would expect to get some sort of other tribal deck out. This could do something in Historic or Pioneer for things like Spirits or Vampires or something like that. Any tribal deck could definitely make use of this. I think the biggest downside is that it's sorcery speed. If this were instant speed and you could blank people's removal, I think it would be incredibly strong. But because it is that sorcery speed, I think that's going to limit the playability to this. And I think this is going to be close to unplayable. I would love to be wrong because I do love me a good tribal synergy, but I am not quite sure about this card. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. We can check back on this and see how right or wrong I was. And then there was a third set of cards that were spoiled today that we already knew about. It was the remaining pathways. So the Simic colors, I'm not going to go through all of them. All the remaining pathways are confirmed to be in Kaldheim. We already knew that because of the secret layer drop, but we do now have artwork for them. They are beautiful. Kaldheim looks awesome. So yeah, that is it. Day one, Tuesday, December 15th of, they're calling it Metal Week, even though it's only 3 days. So it's metal, not even half of a week. But that's it. Pyre of Heroes was the artifact, and Showdown of the Scalds. I think Showdown is super, super strong. I think Pyre is going to be probably pretty close to unplayable.